Hey everybody, welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy. I'm your host Lex.
And I'm Dan.
And we started recording after our first three stories. Our bad.
It's fine, we haven't talked about Gamescom yet.
Gamescom. Today there's a lot of Gamescom and a lot of Konami.
Yep, if you're curious about what you missed, we talked about, was it Good Games Done Quick?
Yep.
Good Games Done Quick. We talked about a Steam scam for a game called Journey of the Light.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about how Peter Dinklage is being purged from Destiny.
Purged.
Purged, I like that word. I'll stick with
More
that.
like he's being flushed.
Oh!
Dad was a little slow to pick up on
I was
that.
looking at the article, like, does it say something? Is there something called flushing in Destiny? Is there a game mechanic I don't know about?
We're on top of... We're at the height of our game.
Yeah. So, speaking of the height of your game, Gamescom happened.
Oh god, that was a horrible segue.
That was really bad.
Yeah, so Gamescom it's in Germany, right?
I believe so.
It's a several-day video
August
game
5th
conference.
to the 9th. It's still happening.
Oh, it is still
It's 2
happening.
more days.
Okay, I thought it extended into this weekend.
Yes.
Cool.
And they showed off a whole bunch of stuff. Microsoft in particular showed a whole lot. And we got the new World of Warcraft expansion.
Ooh. So we had predictions last week about what the new World of Warcraft expansion would be, and
Yes, we
Dan
did.
had two ideas.
I had two ideas. Do we want to get right into World of
Or
Warcraft?
no, wasn't it? One of them was mine and one of them was yours, because I was guessing more Pandarian BS, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but I guessed one of two things.
Okay.
And my guess was either the Emerald Dream
Oh, yeah.
or some Burning Legion Space Satan stuff.
Yeah.
Guess what? Burning Legion Space Satan.
That's happening.
It's happening. So we want to get right into that. So, World of Warcraft, in another article, where is that article? Their subscribers have hit a very low this, quarter. So, basically...
Yeah, last quarter Warlords of Draenor came out, and
Yes.
and we reported a lot on how their subscriber base just spiked, like almost to the levels it had been at its peak.
Yeah.
Super impressive because they had been dwindling for a while, but it had been a slow dwindle prior to Warlords of Draenor. This quarter, there was such a huge drop from what it had been at Warlords of Draenor. It's very troubling for that game.
It's down to about 5.9 million.
Yeah.
Which, at its height, I believe it was around 13 million.
Yeah, now I'm not...
And it got pretty low during Mists of Pandaria, too.
Yeah, the stupid pandas thing.
Yeah, like 6.8 million during that. And then
So it is at an all-time low now? Because
I believe it's not at the all-time low. The all-time low is somewhere around 5.6.
Okay.
At some point.
Probably before Warlords, I assume.
Yeah. Oh no, that was as low as 5.6 million since 2005, which was 1 year after World of Warcraft released. So this is going, like, after the first year.
Okay.
Numbers. So I don't think this is the all-time low even after that first year, but it's really low.
Because it's not so much that it is an all-time low as people have dropped off so quickly.
Yeah, the big deal here was how fast the change happened. And like you said, so a bunch of people bought Warlords of Draenor, played it for a week, and then stopped caring again.
Yeah. That seems to be what's happened.
That's what happened with me in Cataclysm. Because I hadn't played World of Warcraft for some time. Cataclysm came out, played it for like 2 weeks. Never played World of Warcraft again. Haven't touched it. So, it's the same deal. So I think part of the reason this expansion's happening now, and this expansion seems like a bigger amount of content than Warlords of Draenor had.
I think so. It's interesting because Warlords of Draenor had overall like decent reviews.
Yeah.
But the things that I was hearing about it was that even though it introduced new mechanics, the amount of content was fairly lacking.
I believe it had the fewest major content patches of any expansion too. Because when all said and done, it's only going to have had 2 that had like raids and stuff. So it's not a very big expansion, and I almost feel like they were stalling for time for this one. Because when I'm reading about this one, it makes it sound much, much, much more robust as far as content goes. So the new expansion is called World of Warcraft Legion. Got a picture of Illidan on the front. He's coming back, I guess.
Yeah, he definitely died.
He totally died in
Warcraft
Burning.
3.
No, he died in Burning Crusade.
Oh,
Warcraft. He wasn't dead in Warcraft 3.
Oh, I thought he died at like the end of Warcraft 3 or something.
Something bad happened to him, but I think he got away.
Okay.
Because they're like, oh, now he's hiding at this temple. You beat him up at the end of the Burning Crusade.
Okay.
40 nobodies go and beat him up.
Lore.
So, this new expansion is going to follow the return of the Burning Legion, with players headed to the new continent, the Broken Isles, at the heart of Azeroth. So that's about the big whirlpool in the middle of the world of Warcraft.
The world of Warcraft.
There's a bunch of islands around it. The level cap's going up to 110. A new Demon Hunter class is going to be added for all you Edge Masters out there.
You can be Illidan.
Yeah, big Illidan horns. There's going to be a new PvP on our system. More artifact weapons like the Ashbringer and the Doomhammer. Ooh. And there's going to be a big demon invasion. There's a portal in the Tomb of Sargeras. That's Space Satan, for anyone who doesn't know. And players will have to search for the Pillars of Creation to close the portal and take the fight to Gul'dan and his armies. There's also going to be weapon customization.
Neat. Oh, you get to fight Gul'dan in this. That's cool, I guess.
That's pretty neat. Yeah. I mean, Demon Hunters, they got horns. You look like a goof.
They're blind, all of them.
You gotta be.
It wasn't just Illidan.
No, they said that was a whole part of it.
I don't.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, whatever.
New dungeons include the Eye of Azshara, Dark Heart Thicket, Neltharian's Lair, Helheim, Suramar City, and the Violet Hold. The beta opens later this year. Yay.
The concept art looks good.
Yeah, it looks cool. I actually like this picture for like the new area too. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But this comes... I feel like this is like being pushed out because they're like, whoa, our numbers fell down really fast.
Totally.
Like, they're like, no, you guys, there's more. We may finally be seeing World of Warcraft falling off. Might be happening.
Because we always knew that World of Warcraft was gonna die.
Yeah, they can't keep it going forever.
And up until Draenor, they were dying a slow death, which is like sort of the quiet way to go in your sleep. And we were okay with that. And then Draenor sort of brought it back, and now it's just dropping like a rock. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna like hit by a car death. That's what's happening. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be terrible.
Warlords of Draenor sold 3.3 million copies and brought the subscriber numbers up to 10.5 million from around the 7 million they were before.
Oh, okay.
But now it is down to 5.9 million.
Ooh, they lost significantly.
They lost
on
a
that.
lot.
Yeah, man.
That's real bad.
That's so bad. Because that not only all of those people who resubscribed just for Draenor, not only did they all leave,
more people,
but a bunch of other people who had been playing before Draenor had been like, Draenor kind of sucks. This has made me stop playing.
Oh, excuse me. It's not 5.9. It is 5.6. Their quarter 2 2015 earnings report on Tuesday said that it is now 5.6 million, meaning that they lost 1.5 million subscribers in quarter 2 of 2015 alone. It's like a lot. This is an article, by the way, from the International Business Times from today.
No, it's from yesterday. It's from August 6th.
August 7th. No, that's today. Oh, excuse me. I was looking at the wrong date on the page. They have a date telling you what day it is, like just on their website.
And what time it is.
Yeah.
How helpful.
For business. So yeah, this is a ton of content in this one. More than was in Warlords of Draenor, although Warlords of Draenor did the whole like visual overhaul for characters and stuff too. But this part of this feels really desperate to me. This feels like this finally feels like Blizzard scrambling to get those subscriber numbers back as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Which it's never felt like before. So this is a new thing. Also, I'm wondering where they're planning on going after this expansion, if anywhere, because
they already went to space. So where else can you go?
This is like the big last thing. But, like, I always thought that World of Warcraft was going to end with the Burning Legion stuff. At the very end. You fight Space Satan and everybody cheers and goes home. But we'll see.
I mean, I think that they might just, if things continue to plummet like this, you will see expansions much less frequently, and they'll just shift all their focus to things like Hearthstone.
Right.
Which would be the best plan for
And Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, and Heroes of the Storm.
Overwatch.
Overwatch. So other stuff from Gamescom.
One of our friends is going to be super psyched.
Oh my god, he's going to be amped. I don't even know if he knows.
I'm pretty sure he's this game's only fan. He's its biggest and only fan.
So, hey, do you remember Halo Wars for the Xbox 360?
I do.
I barely did. I remember playing it for 5 minutes and being like, this is a mediocre RTS, and then never playing it again.
With only 2 factions.
Yeah. So, they announced at Gamescom that, 343 Studios?
Yep.
Is making...
Oh, no, Creative Assembly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're doing... Creative Assembly's doing it.
Okay. Is indeed making a sequel to Halo Wars. The trailer makes it not look like an RTS game.
Of course.
I mean, it makes it look like a movie, but it also...
Well, I mean, you want to make sure you market it the same... The same thing happens where everybody thinks that it's another Halo game and buys it, realizes it's an RTS, and then sells it back.
I mean, I guess that was how they marketed Halo Wars originally.
That's how Halo Wars was.
Yeah.
I was working at GameStop when that game came out. Like, everyone who bought it thought it was a regular Halo game and, like, returned it the next day. It was really, really sad.
But, didn't this, it was either this article or a different one. So I found out about this from Kotaku, but, it was either this article or a different one that was saying that Halo Wars actually had decent sales numbers.
Over a long period of time, I think.
Yeah, so I guess they can justify the budget for a sequel, but it still is weird and doesn't make sense. I don't know what the trailer has Channing Tatum in it, so if you want to watch that,
one nice thing is that it's going to actually be on PC.
Oh, is it?
So you know, it'll be able to be played
like an RTS,
like an RTS game.
Yeah.
You remember StarCraft on the Nintendo 64?
Hey, that was brilliant. There was nothing completely unplayable about using the N64 controller with one joystick to play an RTS game.
It's also going to be episodic, apparently.
Oh, geez, I didn't even see that. That sounds horrible.
That sounds awful.
I mean, that actually sounds like the StarCraft 2 model.
Halo Wars by Telltale Games.
No,
Covenant elites just making Telltale faces.
But no, I do think that rather than following the Telltale model, they're trying to follow Blizzard's StarCraft model, which has done very well for them because all the StarCraft installments sell really well, even though I bought the first installment and then realized there would be 2 more, and because of that did not buy the other 2 because I was so peeved about it.
Yeah, I heard about that. I mean, I lost interest in StarCraft 2 before that, but then when I found out about that, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Get out of my face, Blizzard.
You can't have
with
my
your
money.
Stupid Lion King saving Kerrigan bullcrap. That was the dumbest ending I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the part in Brood War where Jim Raynor's like, I'll never forgive you, Kerrigan, ever. Because you're a horrible murdering monster and you killed all my friends and you're horrible and I'm gonna murder you myself. You remember that? Because that scene happens in Brood War, and the first thing you see of him in StarCraft 2 is, boo-hoo, I'm sad Kerrigan's gone, I'm gonna save my girlfriend. Good writing, Blizzard.
Idiots.
I'm sorry, I had to get some anger out.
No, it's justifiable.
So yeah, Halo Wars 2. Wowee.
Don't buy it. Although, one of the things I will say about the trailer is it is actually a well-done trailer if this was a Telltale game or actually a shooter. I would feel like, oh, this story sounds kind of interesting.
Covenant Grunt will remember that. Like, I mean, maybe they should just make a CG television series.
I mean, they tried a live-action television series. That didn't work out so well.
Well, that's because that was an awful idea.
Yeah. They should make a CG movie. They should go Spirits Within. Full Spirits Within.
There was a really good Starship Troopers CG television series.
Yeah, there was.
It would be like the same thing.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah, why haven't they done that? Why are they so... Microsoft, stop being so freaking dumb.
Like, seriously, there's precedent for this. You can't mess it up. Scalebound gameplay finally shown off at Gamescom.
We've seen it.
There's going to be 4-player co-op, which is cool. Game's coming out in holiday 2016 as of right now. For anyone who doesn't remember, this is a new action game by Platinum Games for Microsoft. It's an Xbox One exclusive where you play as a dude who suspiciously looks like Dante from Devil May Cry and who has a dragon friend. And a bow and arrow and a sword.
It was good that we got to see gameplay.
It was. I'm going to say something. As somebody who adores Platinum Games, I was not impressed by the gameplay of this game.
Really?
I was not.
Oh.
And it could be because it's an early build of the game. I hope that is the case.
Okay.
My biggest problems with it are, even before gameplay, I think that the art style of just about everything but the main character and his creature dragon is really bland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the environments don't look interesting. The other characters they show off in the gameplay look very boring and cookie-cutter. They look like Final Fantasy stock enemies.
Mm.
And the gameplay looks like it works fine, but it doesn't have the same fast-paced action that most Platinum games do. It feels a little more methodical, because you're ordering your dragon around, and the dragon moves very slowly. It's very powerful, but it moves very slowly. The controls seem like they work well, but it doesn't look particularly satisfying.
Mm.
And that may change as the game gets further into development, because obviously if it's holiday next year, right now, there's a lot left to go on making this. So, time will tell, but I don't know if I was, expecting more, but I would have liked to have been a little more impressed by the gameplay. It looked very been there, done that to me. I was kind of like, okay.
And I think that's one of the things I was afraid of happening when I saw the CG trailer, because it struck me as Monster Hunter. More
derivative than a lot of their other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you compare that to, debut trailers for Bayonetta.
Mm-hmm.
Bayonetta 2, for example. Bayonetta 2's debut trailer looked absolutely insane and crazy and amazing and different. And this, like you said, it looked like Dante playing Monster Hunter. So... Which, I mean, I got excited anyway, because I like them as a studio. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to see more gameplay. But upon seeing gameplay, it was kind of underwhelmed. It's too bad. But that's that.
Hey, did you know that they're making Crackdown 3? Because they are.
Are they now?
They are.
I didn't play any of the Crackdown games.
I have played a little bit of them. My main problem with them is they give you this big open world, and then they give you superhuman powers to, just Hulk out, destroy all sorts of stuff. And then all of the enemies are super bland and generic, and there's nothing interesting to do. And it's super disappointing. And there are, cool weapons, too, but because the enemies aren't interesting, it's not fun to kill them.
It's the sad, sad life of a super cop. Yeah. When you realize that there's just no thrill in anything anymore.
Exactly. So, the new Crackdown from the gameplay we saw of it at Gamescom will have destructible buildings, fully destructible.
That's cool.
Which is cool, so if they can...
Red Faction style.
Yeah, so if they do that, and they make the enemy types and the combat, more interesting and dynamic...
Because the other games, the tough enemies in the other games, I know, were mostly just bullet sponges.
Yeah.
They just took lots of damage, but they were still boring. Mm-hmm. So you're right. They need some enemies that are fun to fight.
Yeah. So if they can manage to do that, then this game could actually be great. I've always felt about the Crackdown series, it would be a really fun... It would be like Just Cause, right?
Yeah, it always has seemed to me also... I've watched people play it. One of my friends actually really, really likes it. And to me, it always seemed like a game with tons and tons of potential that was just completely unrealized.
Yeah.
It was held back by its own, issues with deeper game design and art design and everything. It comes off as a game with lots of good ideas that just was put together in a really bland way.
Yeah. So here's hoping the Crackdown 3 will not follow that same trend.
Hope so.
And things are kind of hopeful for that with the destructible buildings, I suppose.
I guess.
Yeah, what else from Gamescom?
Dark Souls 3 gameplay. Like, actual big gameplay demo that was fully playable on the floor. I mean, there's a little trailer that came out, too. It's Dark Souls. I don't really know what to say about it at this point. It's Dark Souls. It looks more interesting art design-wise and everything than Dark Souls 2.
Cool.
Which is what I was hoping for, because Dark Souls 2 is unquestionably the weak link in that series right now. So with Miyazaki helming this one again, and what they have shown, I'm hoping it kind of turns that around. We get back to the Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne feel. Although Bloodborne's kind of its own thing. The gameplay is very different at this point. But it looks really cool. They're introducing some new game mechanics, like weapon arts as a special combat ability with certain weapons, where you can go into certain stances with different weapons that allow you to do special parries and things like that. Shields are being made, like, reworked. So only certain shields can be used to parry enemy attacks, whereas others are strictly used for blocking, things like that. So you'll have to spend more time deciding, like, which of these weapons do I really want to use in which situation. And they mentioned, when the game was announced, some kind of heat-up mechanic for the boss fights, which has now been revealed to have been a weird mistranslation, where basically it just meant the boss fights are going to go through multiple phases. So there's going to be very distinct, unlike the boss staying kind of the same, like they did in Dark Souls 1 and 2, where you start the fight and they're just, this is what they're going to be. This has much more, you get a quarter of the way, half of the way, 2/3 of the way through the fight, and the mechanics of the fights are going to radically change. So you're going to be having to strategize a lot more on the fly as far as fighting the larger enemies and bosses and things like that, which I think is cool. I love having to do that in games, and Bloodborne had some of that, where the bosses would have phases that they went through, and you really had to change up how you were playing.
So what you're saying is first Sephiroth will just be a guy with a sword, but then later he'll have one wing.
Right, he'll be a big mutant monster, and then he'll be a weirdo with a crab butt who blows up the solar system every turn. And you have to watch it. He does his attack, and you have to watch it for like 5 minutes.
Dark Souls.
Every single time. At least you have cool music to listen to.
This true, it is good music.
Here's the real big money. All of our Konami news. Good news first.
Yeah,
that we have
talk about that.
Metal Gear Online info. So Metal Gear Solid 5 is coming out in September 1st, less than a month away. And Metal Gear Online will be launching in October, excuse me, on consoles, but it will not be on PC until next year.
October 6th, it will be on consoles.
So about a month after the game. Metal Gear Online started in Metal Gear Solid 3. It's really fun, because the gameplay mechanics of Metal Gear are really interesting when you put them into multiplayer. And you get to pick all your loadouts, so you can bring a cardboard box. Or, like, you choose which guns you want, and you can choose all sorts of other weird stuff. Like, in the game, you can put down dirty magazines to distract guards. You put them on the floor, and a guard will see them and be like, ooh, and walk over and start reading it. Those work in the multiplayer. You can bring those with you into the game, and they will actually, like, if another player sees it and looks at it, it will lock them in and force them to walk over to it as, like, a trap. So all those game mechanics have been brought into the multiplayer to make it a really, really interesting, unique experience. And of course you have a mode where you get to, like, play as Snake, and everybody else plays as a regular guard, and Snake's objective is to take you all out.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you got stuff like that that's really, really cool. So yeah, it looks fun. And I believe if you buy Metal Gear Solid 5, I think you get this. As far as I know. Like, it's just a bonus.
I don't know. That would be too cool for something that Konami would do.
I mean, I guess, yeah. That's how it was with MGS 3 and 4, though.
They're going to work in an extra fee.
Yeah,
I bet you anything
You're probably
going to do that.
They're going to find a way.
Though the good news about this, aside from the fact that it's happening in general, is that it's coming to PC.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah. that were...
I mean, MGS5 itself is going to be on PC as well.
Yep.
And according to some sources I've been reading, it's going to actually look better on PC than on consoles.
Nice.
Like, because they just said screw it. They're not going to hold it back or anything. Watch Dogs. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about Konami.
Did you know that Konami's worse than Hitler?
I know that now.
You know that now.
So, a Japanese report has come out that discusses the corporate culture at Konami. Yeah, can't even say their name. We must not speak it. It's like Voldemort. The company which must not be named. Basically talking about how their whole corporate culture works. And it's bad.
It's bad. So we found out about this on August 3rd. Specifically, we're going to be citing a Konami article here.
Kotaku.
Kotaku.
You said a Konami article about how they're horrible.
They're not
At least
covering
they're
it up.
Self-aware.
Yeah. They're straight up about it.
Yeah.
But no.
As the article says, they have not only soured over the past few years, but they have become terrifyingly Orwellian. Which is a great way of describing it.
Next thing you know, they're going to say that company's racist.
Yeah, man.
Oh, Kotaku. But no, using the line Orwellian in a Kotaku article, like, of course they did. Of course they did.
Sword Art Online is the most Orwellian anime I've watched all year.
So some of the bad things they're doing to their employees.
Yes.
For one thing, they renamed Kojima Productions Number 8 Production Department.
Number 8 Production Department.
Which
so dismal.
So that's not so bad. I mean, it's them sort of giving the finger to that production department, but it's not bad. Like, not horrible yet.
But they've allegedly disconnected the internet from all their computers.
They have an intranet,
right,
so that they can contact only other employees.
But they have no means of contacting the outside world.
Nope.
They're trapped.
You can couple that with the fact that when they go out on lunch breaks, if they take too long, they will be reprimanded and publicly shamed.
Yes, their names are released to the company if they stay out too long. They have a time card system for if they choose to leave the building to eat lunch. What the hell?
There are cameras in the office corridors that aren't there for security, but rather to monitor the movements of the employees themselves.
They all are given randomized email addresses every few months. For some reason. So, one Konami employee told the person writing this article that was done to prevent headhunting. I don't know what headhunting means exactly in this context. Does that mean, like, harassing a particular person via email?
No, I assume that it's other companies trying to poach your employees.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I bet you're right.
But, and I guess it would prevent that, but it's still weird.
Here's the one that really, really gets me, or these last two.
Oh, yeah.
Game developers who are not seen as useful are reassigned to jobs as security guards, cleaning staff at the fitness clubs, or roles at the pachinko slot machine factories.
So they're not even designing the slot machines, they're literally building
Assembling them.
Yeah.
You have been deemed unworthy. Now go back to the pachinko mines.
So even though you're a trained game designer, because you goofed up in some minor way and your bosses don't like you, rather than firing you, they will assign you to manual labor.
Yep. Back to the acid mines. Konami employees. And the worst on top of that is that a former employee, upon announcing on Facebook that they were leaving Konami and had gotten a new job elsewhere, had their post monitored. And that Konami staff who liked the post were all reshuffled within the company.
All became security guards.
Yeah.
Most secure building ever.
What the hell? Well, they need all those security guards because they don't use their cameras for it.
That's true. They only use them to monitor the employees.
So Kotaku is following up with Konami for comment on this. They're not going to get a comment. There's no way.
No.
They're not going to get anything.
So these are... One of the things that we need to say about this that's very important is these are all based from an anonymous source, an employee within the company who came and said this. So there's a chance that none of this is true.
Yeah.
But
it
seems true.
It seems like it could be true.
Also, Konami I don't know if they flat out denied it or just not said anything. I think they just haven't said anything.
They haven't said anything.
Which is bad.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing something like that, it should be easy to just be like, no, we're not doing that. Here's a testimonial from one of our other employees.
Yeah. I did hear some news regarding Metal Gear. That article touched on it, actually, that the costs for Metal Gear have been going up quite a bit for the development. I believe it said the total cost had hit somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 billion yen at this point, which is like $80 million.
I was going to say, that's like $20, right?
It's like $80 million, which is a lot.
Yeah, totally.
For game development. Like, that is a pretty penny. And it's been in development for so long on top of that some people are speculating part of the reason that Kojima and Konami had this falling out was that Kojima is paid a flat sum. Their developers are paid a flat sum yearly, like a salary, regardless of whether or not their game comes out. Like, they're just paid this.
Yeah.
So some of this fallout may have happened because Kojima said, well, I don't need to rush the game out the door because we're getting paid the same in either way. So I can just keep developing the game as long as I want until it's perfect, and I don't have to worry about it because I'm going to get paid.
And that is the pay structure that Konami set up for him.
But some people are speculating that Konami did not like that because they were like, hey, Kojima, we don't want you to keep putting money in this game. When's it going to be done? When's it going to be done? We need to put the game out. And he was like, no, I'm an auteur. And then they were like, you're out. We're done because we're putting the game out. And it could have something to do with the very large sum of money that has been invested into that title.
What's interesting about that, though, is if it's like 80 million...
Yes.
As we've learned, for a AAA title, that's not that weird.
For Japanese...
Japanese, it's high. For American games, you're seeing, like, and European, because a lot of them are developed in France and junk like that. But you'll see...
Or Canada.
But you'll see budgets of, like, sometimes as much as 200 million. Like, as much as a blockbuster
Grand Theft Auto 5 was, like, $250? $260 million? Something ridiculous.
And let me tell you, the new Metal Gear Solid looks better than any American game that's coming out.
Japan knows how to stretch a budget. You can see it in games and you can see it in anime.
It's because they got those acid mines. They're just whipping their employees.
Well, you look at an episode of some anime. I don't know. Any really nice looking anime, like one that's pretty. I guarantee you that that episode was made for a staggeringly low amount of money compared to an episode of SpongeBob. An episode of SpongeBob costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Whereas a solid-looking anime episode costs, like, tens. It's weird. And part of it, I think, is that Japanese animators, and in this case Japanese game developers, are grossly underpaid. So that could have something to do with it, combined with the work ethic over there. But $80 million US is ridiculous for a Japanese game. That's huge. So... comparing that to, like, other stuff over there, I can see where Konami is coming from, at least on that front. Oh, like, we cannot stop putting money into this game without releasing it. We just can't. But still, clearly something more happened than just that, because that seems like not nearly enough to warrant the response that resulted.
Are we still going with he was sleeping with the boss's wife?
Absolutely. Yeah, probably all the boss's wives.
Have you seen him?
He's a good-looking man.
Yeah.
He also has the jacket from Drive.
That's...
What woman could resist? He posts Twitter pictures of himself wearing it.
I didn't realize he had the jacket from Drive.
He does.
That's amazing.
When he got it, he posted a Twitter photo of himself wearing it facing away from the camera. And he's like, a jacket from Drive. Very cool.
But no, so I want to ask you about, in terms of the work, the culture there.
Yeah.
We see all of these work condition things, and they sound horrible. And they are. But how much of that is, do you think, US and European standards being different from Japanese standards?
As far as the work ethic?
In terms of, like, what they're doing to their employees, and, like, obviously it's still over the top, but
Yeah.
is it like less over the top for Japan?
It's... do you mean as far as, like, the reshuffling within the company of, like, employees and, like, the constant security monitoring and stuff?
Yeah.
From what I understand, yes. Because from what I know about, and I'm gonna preface this with I'm not an expert on Japanese business culture, but it's the imagination. But what I've seen and what I know about is that they have a very strict work culture, they have very heavy work ethic, where, you know, they put a lot... There it is, the picture. Lex is looking up pictures of Kojima wearing the drive jacket. But, so everybody over there works very, very hard, regardless of how much they're getting paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just a stronger work ethic in that sense over there, especially in these business environments. But I do not think that this kind of monitoring is common over there. I think that employees are treated very, very harshly for mistakes and causing problems for the larger company, because there's a very we all work together as a unit mentality, and if you're holding back the group, you are a serious problem and will be talked to.
Yeah.
But this level of monitoring and meddling in employee affairs, and especially demoting people who are seen as not useful, I think this is extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Even for Japanese company environments. But that's just me. I don't know. It might not be.
So, next bit of news about Konami.
In other news, their profits are up!
Which means all of this bad behavior, if they're engaging in it, they're not going to stop because it seems like it's making them money.
They're up 159%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a huge uptick.
Yeah. All right.
So this is an article from GameSpot from the 6th.
Yep.
We just found out about it. And they announced their quarterly results.
Yes.
And yeah, for the last 3-month period ending in June 30th, they were up by 159%. So, 51.2 billion yen in revenue for the quarter, up 5.3% from last year's 48.6 billion. And profit jumped by the 159 to 4.28 billion.
Yep.
If you care about all the numbers,
a lot of this income came from mobile games.
Yeah, which is not surprising at all.
My favorite, Jikyo Powerfuru Puro Yakyu.
It passed the 13 million download following its launch in December 2014. It's like the Angry Birds of Japan.
Yeah, you gotta love G Power Puro. That's what they call it over there. They love abbreviations. There's a mobile game Star Wars Force Collection and Pro Evolution Soccer Collection, which also earns stable income.
The Star Wars thing definitely makes sense to me because since there's so much hype right now, they're just riding that hype.
And Star Wars is very big in Japan, too.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
That's interesting.
Very popular over there. They love Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
And they say that Metal Gear Solid 5 and Pro Evolution Soccer 2016 have generated great expectations, quote unquote. So, yeah. I mean, they're gonna make big dollars off MGS5. No question.
See, that's the thing I'm wondering about, though, because we know from sales history when we were originally, I think in a past episode when we were talking about their falling out with Kojima, one of the reasons why we proposited that they might be having this falling out.
Sorry, I saw another article I had to click on.
Is because Metal Gear has been making less money with each game.
Yes.
And even like the huge big budget super hyped 4 did not sell nearly as well as the prior game.
Right.
So even though I know that we're getting all this hype, I think because we're getting all the publicity of Kojima leaving the company, that will make a bigger deal.
Yeah.
But I still feel like Phantom Pain, like Metal Gear just has more of a niche audience.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as breaking like tons of sales records for them.
Part of the problem I know with 4 is 4 was a game that, in order for you to really enjoy it, hinged very much on whether or not you had played all the other games.
Well, yeah.
And a lot of people shied away from it because of that. I think that 5, given its nature as still technically a prequel to the rest of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, aside from 3, will be more accessible to people who just want to pick up the game and try it. So that is a slight difference, at least, that may make it perform a little bit better. And there might be people who are interested in Metal Gear Online in spite of not being interested in the full game.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who I think will buy it for the online game as well. But that remains to be seen. Yeah. We're running out of time. What else do we got to talk about?
Oh, we have
to talk about the Silent Hill thing.
Oh my god, this is
we have to fit this in at the end. This is the worst.
Yeah, this is sort of like the cherry on top of all the terrible Konami news this week.
Yep.
So Konami finally breaks their silence on new Silent Hill development. This is an article that I found from whatculture.com. I don't know where it was from originally, but I think it's from today or yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, it's from today. So
okay.
From August 7th. They released a trailer.
They are making a new Silent Hill game.
They are.
Yeah.
It's coming out in October of this year, and you can play it at a casino near you.
The nearest pachinko parlor.
Yep.
So in Japan.
So it is a slot machine.
Yeah. Now, it's not strictly a slot machine. They call them slot machines. Pachinko is a Japanese parlor game where you buy a bunch of silver balls and you put them in a machine and a bunch of things happen and you get more silver balls maybe and then I think you just do it over and over again. Truth be told, I don't really know how pachinko works. When I was in Japan, I walked into a pachinko parlor and realized it was the single loudest place I had ever been in my life and immediately left because I got a migraine within about 5 seconds. I looked at one of the machines and tried to figure out how it worked. No idea.
No idea.
So it's not like you pull a lever and you get, like, coins or something.
But there is a lever, and there are the 3 little...
things. But it's like a game. Like, there's a screen where things happen, and you have to, like, line things up to get certain things to happen, and there's various story paths to go through.
Mm.
And somehow silver balls play into all of this. Pachinko is a mysterious game.
So Konami we knew that Konami was taking a lot of their franchises and making slot machines out of them.
Yeah, and I mean, they've relegated a lot of staff to the slot machine factories.
Yeah, that's true. So
they don't line up the silver balls.
Because it makes them a ton of money.
Yes.
And although
it's huge in Japan. There are these parlors, like 2-3-story huge buildings everywhere.
Dude, people love to gamble. You give them a chance to gamble, they will gamble.
Yeah, like, it's absurd. Though, like, I saw these places everywhere.
There are D&D pachinko machines I heard about. I want to play one. I want to go to Japan just so I can play that.
You'll never figure out how to work it.
I'll never defeat the dragon.
You'll never do it. Oh, God. So that's awful.
But the trailer is especially galling because it's all clips of
characters
and like cutscenes from Silent Hill games.
Yeah,
I think they even have a couple seconds from the Silent Hills trailer.
Oh God!
And just intercut with text and stills of the pachinko machine.
Look at it; it's majestic. It's beautiful.
It looks so gross.
It looks awful.
I mean, Silent Hill, it has Silent Hill's art aesthetic, which is gross.
Yeah, like, you know, rusty and dirty and broken looking. So that's terrible, and we hate it. I want to end off on this. Keiji Inafune's Kickstarter for Red Ash, the spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends, did not make it. It got $519,999 from the needed $800,000, but they made a partnership with a Chinese company, so they're going to be making the first episode of it anyway.
Did we talk about this last week?
We did. I just wanted to say that this officially has all happened.
Oh, okay.
Because the Kickstarter's over, it's going to get made. This is what's happening. In other news, the rumors that Mighty Number 9 might be delayed to 2016 were true. It has been delayed to 2016. So in light of that other news about Keiji Inafune's other Kickstarter, I'm just like, what the hell, man?
Inafune, what are you doing?
Why don't you finish Mighty Number 9 first? Because clearly it's not done.
Clearly.
Because we talked about how we would be fine with this if Mighty Number 9 was finished. Which, since it was coming out so soon, we figured it was. Guess not.
That wasn't the case.
Yeah. So that's no good. Bad show.
This whole, like, the last 40 minutes of the show has just been so depressing.
It's been miserable.
It's killing me.
Let's end on a happy note. What games are coming out next week?
Oh, nothing, yeah.
Oh, no.
Garfield Kart?
You mean the game that takes you to an article about a German media enterprise?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Goat Simulator on
for the
PS4.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
And
Paddington Adventures in London for the 3DS.
That also takes us to German media enterprise Koch Media.
Okay, well, I think it's pronounced Coke.
Coke?
Yeah, because like the Koch brothers that's how they spell their name.
Oh, I don't know.
So it's probably pronounced Coke, but Toy Soldiers War Chest? What is that? I don't know.
It's similar to previous games.
Oh, well, that explains it.
I think it's kind of like a tower defense type real-time strategy thing. I believe.
Okay.
Great.
Brothers.
Tale of Two Sons on PS4 and Xbox.
I mean, that's cool. I'm glad that's getting ported.
Fallout Shelter for Android.
Okay, that's fun. Yeah, that's
it. That's all.
Oh my god, it's August.
The show's over, everybody.
It's August and it sucks. Everything is terrible forever.
Is everybody miserable enough yet?
It's too bad because for those people listening to a recording of this, they missed like the three uplifting stories we did at the beginning of the show.
Alright, everybody. For those of you listening to the recording, now is the time to start drinking. Because it's not going to get better.
Dan's already started. He's got a bottle in his hand.
This is sarsaparilla.
Don't tell me you didn't spike that.
I didn't spike my sarsaparilla.
Sure.
What more do you need than a smooth bottle of sarsaparilla? Did you ever watch the Cowboys of Moo Mesa as a kid? They loved sarsaparilla.
It was pretty good.
The bad guy with the cactus guns always tried to steal it.
Obscure references.
And now, with that reference to Cowboys of Moo Mesa, we must end our show.
So if you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Steam, and iTunes. We've got a show archive up on iTunes and on the chipit.net site. So download some stuff of that. Listen to past episodes. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also check us out on social media. Message us. We'd also greatly appreciate that.
Message us, comment on stuff, anything you want.
Considering how...
We'll respond.
Yeah, considering how depressing this week has been, I don't know, what's the point?
We can have, group therapy.
That would be good.
Yeah. I'll just weep around a picture of the old Silent Hill games.
I'm just gonna hold your cat and cry, and your cat's gonna be so upset that she's being held.
A little funeral shrine with, my copy of Silent Hill 2 with some candles next to it.
I'll set up a funeral shrine for Peter Dinklage's voice acting in Destiny.
Just a tape recorder with clips on it. Play one and shed a lone tear. So... while you're in your state of mourning until next week, remember, don't copy that floppy.